All right, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Here we go. So we just had our first snow this week in Utah. But first of all, I want to say hey to Michael and Ole. Welcome you guys to the stream. Welcome everybody else. We are we're well into 2026, right? The new year started. I imagine everybody's been back to work for at least a week. And we're just beginning to get back into the swing of the things for the new year. I am super excited for just the way signal forms have gone. There have been a couple of things that Michael shared with me that are fascinating. Let me take a look. Where do I have those? Yeah. So let's grab this one and bring it over here. Because it's been going back and forth a little bit with respect to what? Okay. That's kind of an annoying. That's an annoyance. We'll get around it. I'm just really concerned about my YouTube stream is showing as being poor today again. I'm really concerned about that. So hopefully it stays up and keeps going. I am recovering a little bit from a cold. So I mean, it's winter time, riding the train, going into the office. I imagine I was going to pick something up. But anyways, the signal forms directive, the field is being replaced with form field. So instead of field, you'll use form field. And the big issue has been that avoiding naming collisions and stuff like that. So first of all, we're going to go through and we're going to rename field to form field. So we'll make that change. The other thing that Michael was sharing, maybe it was the same thing. Yeah. Yep. So it was again the same thing about form field. So definitely worth checking out. He also shared with me this week the NGRX Toolkit version 21 blog post. We're still on version 20, but there's some good stuff in here regarding with resource and mutations and with entity resources. And then what they need to do to get to the upgraded version 21 versions. And so there's a bunch of stuff here. I'm going to share with all of you so you guys can go take a look yourself. Yeah, that is a big part of it. The version 20 toolkit does work with version 21 of NGRX. Signal store and signals and all of it, right? But they are coming out with a version 21 soon. That is the long and the short of it. And there's some fun stuff here too. with this open API generator that will create stuff based on Zod schemas and all sorts of cool stuff here. So definitely worth checking out. Before we get into that, let's go take a look at last week's code review. So last week we finished up the date picker and we wound up fixing up a bunch of things, right? This is where, and this seems to be the industry standard advice when working with LLMs and LLM generated code. Yeah, I want to take a look at the API to Ola and see what we can do with that. It would be very, very cool to be able to generate some signal forms based on a Zod spec. And we do have a fairly complicated Zod spec. One of the things I really want to take a look at is taking like an involved form and application and converting it from, Angular forms to Angular signal forms. And our good candidate for that is the Angular Dyno stuff. Hey, Margaret, it has been a while. Welcome back. We're happy to have you here. Thanks for showing up today. It has been a good while. Anyways, the industry standard kind of advice right now when working with LLMs is make sure the LLM knows what it's talking about. So, LLMs do what LLMs do really, really well, which is generating a ton of text. And they do that amazingly well, but, LLMs hallucinate. And so, as we're holding an LLM's hand as it generates code for us, and, tries to do code reviews and stuff like that, we need to understand what's going on. So in this code review, it's saying, hey, you should use computed instead of linked signal for display value. And this is bad feedback. So I turned on the Gemini has this ability to turn on comments. So I turned on the comments to Gemini and I said, no, linked signal is suggested by the Angular team. And I think this is probably the best thing we can do for these tools going forward. We need to help the tools get better. The tools aren't going away. I did read an interesting article this week. I can't remember where it was, but they're saying that it looks like we're heading into what they called what did they call it? It was an AI ice age. And basically, from their point of view, we've gone through 3 AI ice ages. And so AI was big back in the 50s. And that's where we got like TV shows like The Jetsons and Lost in Space and things like that, right? Where robots were going to be everywhere, everything was going to be super smart. And so when you look at like the old Jetsons episodes, they had a personal maid who could do everything for them and things like that. And then it just kind of died out because the push behind AI kind of died out. And then it came back in the 80s, where you had like war games, right? And Terminator and stuff like that, where again, AI was becoming a big thing, a big topic. And then eventually that died out again. And then, with the AI renaissance or whatever you want to call it going on right now, there are a couple of people out there that are speculating we're heading into another AI ice age, where basically all the work on AI freezes, all the AI kind of disappears. And so, regardless of what you think along that, it was a fascinating article to read about, though. But regardless of what you think about AI, AI is here to stay. We need to do our part to help the LLMs do better. And so, did I miss something? Did I miss something? I'm seeing people waving to somebody. Nope, I didn't. Well, maybe I did. I don't know. The chats are always a little bit weird when you mix them together like this, but it doesn't look like I did. Anyway, so I did want to call this out. And again, it doubles down, right? Like the console log statement, I'm fine with them saying, hey, we should remove this. No problem. We can go remove that display value. But they're saying you're using a linked signal to create a read-only derived signal. The more idiomatic and clearer way to create a read-only derived signal in Angular is by using computed. This statement is absolutely true. And the problem with LLMs in general is that the statement is not false, right? And the other thing that they do is they use large terms like idiomatic, and they're very, very confident, right? Saying clearer way, and they're very, very good at making what they're saying sound very professional. And I cannot argue against this on its face value. Like this statement by itself, the more idiomatic and clear way to create a read-only derived signal in Angular is by using computed. I've got nothing wrong with that statement. And if I was presented with that statement out of context, it would be very, very difficult for me to argue against it.